The legal boundaries of agitational media in social change movements in an era defined by rapid digital transformation and heightened political engagement, agitational media has emerged as a powerful tool for driving social change. Defined as media that seeks to provoke public debate and mobilize action around pressing issues, agitational media plays a critical role in amplifying marginalized voices and challenging systemic inequities. However, while its potential for impact is undeniable, agitational media operates within complex legal frameworks that vary significantly across jurisdictions. Understanding these boundaries is essential not only for activists but also for journalists committed to ethical reporting and responsible advocacy. The evolution of agitational media through historical lenses. Ayatollah Khomeini's use of radio broadcasts during Iran's 1979 revolution exemplified how agitational media can shape national narratives. His messages reached millions before television became widespread, illustrating early forms of mass communication used for revolutionary purposes. This historical context reveals that agitation through media is far from new phenomenon. From pamphlets distributed during labor strikes to underground newspapers circulated among dissident groups, various eras have witnessed different manifestations of this form of communication. The transition from print to broadcast media marked significant turning points in agitation strategies. Radio's accessibility made it particularly effective for reaching rural populations during India's independence movement, where Mahatma Gandhi utilized gramophone recordings to spread his message. Digital technologies have further transformed agitational media landscapes today. Online platforms now enable real-time dissemination of information at unprecedented speeds, allowing movements like #Black Lives Matter to gain global traction almost instantaneously. Era-specific characteristics. Print-era agitation relied heavily on physical distribution networks, whereas modern approaches leverage algorithmic curation and social media virality. Impact amplification. Digital tools allow for both micro-targeting, reaching specific demographics, and macro-reach, global awareness, expanding the scope of influence dramatically compared to earlier methods. These developments highlight ongoing evolution rather than replacement of traditional techniques. Instead, they represent adaptations that maintain core objectives while utilizing contemporary mediums. Censorship laws and their impact on activist communications. Governments worldwide employ varying degrees of censorship mechanisms aimed at controlling narrative flows within their borders. These measures range from direct suppression of dissenting viewpoints to subtle regulatory pressures influencing media behavior indirectly. Nations such as China implement strict internet firewalls known as the Great Firewall, which blocks access to foreign websites deemed subversive. This creates challenges for international activist organizations attempting to disseminate information within restricted environments. Beyond outright bans, some countries utilize more nuanced tactics, including self-censorship incentives through economic pressure or legal repercussions against publishers who challenge official positions. For example, in Russia, laws governing foreign agent status require non-governmental entities receiving external funding to disclose affiliations publicly. Such requirements create disincentives for independent journalism focused on sensitive topics. Statistical insights into global censorship practices. Data collected by Reporters Without Borders indicates that over 60% of world's population resides under regimes classified as having high levels of press freedom restrictions. Among them, several nations actively monitor online activities using sophisticated surveillance systems. An analysis published by Freedom House shows a steady decline in global press freedom scores since 2010, suggesting increasing governmental control over media spaces globally. Countries experiencing democratic backsliding often coincide with sharper restrictions on agitational content distribution channels. Notably, when examining regional differences, Middle Eastern states exhibit stricter controls compared to Latin American counterparts despite similar geopolitical contexts. This discrepancy highlights localized factors shaping enforcement priorities differently across regions. Such variations mean that understanding local legal landscapes becomes crucial prior to launching any agitational campaign relying upon digital infrastructure for reach expansion efforts. Ethical considerations in contemporary agitational journalism. Maintaining journalistic integrity remains paramount even amidst urgent calls for societal reform initiated via agitational media outlets. Ethical dilemmas frequently arise concerning truth verification processes amid time-sensitive demands characteristic of protest situations. Activists often face difficult choices regarding what information gets prioritized given limited resources available during crisis moments. Balancing immediacy needs with accuracy standards presents constant challenges requiring careful navigation. Publishing unverified claims risks damaging credibility, ultimately undermining long-term goals pursued through sustained grassroots mobilization campaigns reliant upon trustworthiness indicators. To mitigate these risks, best practices suggest implementing rigorous fact-checking protocols specifically tailored towards handling rapidly evolving events without compromising timeliness requirements imposed by dynamic circumstances. Verification frameworks. Establish multi-source corroboration procedures before publishing potentially explosive revelations related to injustices being highlighted. Error correction policies. Develop transparent mechanisms acknowledging mistakes swiftly whenever incorrect data surfaces post-publication. Adopting these safeguards helps preserve institutional legitimacy necessary for continued public support and participation crucially required during prolonged social change initiatives involving extensive community involvement aspects. International law and cross-border agitation efforts. As transnational activism gains momentum facilitated by digital connectivity, questions surrounding legality of cross-border agitation become increasingly relevant. International treaties provide both opportunities and constraints affecting operations conducted beyond national territories. Treaties such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights affirm freedoms of expression yet do not universally protect all forms of agitational messaging regardless of origin locations. Regional agreements may impose additional limitations depending upon member state obligations commitments. Consider the case study involving human rights NGOs operating outside targeted jurisdictions aiming to raise global consciousness about oppressive policies enacted domestically. While such endeavors align with broader humanitarian principles, they occasionally encounter diplomatic pushback due to perceived violations against sovereignty norms established historically. Understanding nuances inherent within applicable treaties enables strategic framing, ensuring alignment with recognized international norms, thus enhancing chances successful implementation without unnecessary friction arising from misinterpretations regarding intent behind communications deployed internationally. Lobbying techniques utilizing agitational strategies. Modern lobbying extends beyond conventional legislative meetings, incorporating innovative uses of agitational media elements designed to influence policymaking outcomes favorably aligned with constituent interests represented. Social media campaigns targeting lawmakers serve dual purpose, simultaneously raising public awareness and applying indirect pressure upon decision-makers facing constituents' expectations manifested visibly through viral trends originating digitally propagated sources. Strategic leaks. Strategically timed release-sensitive documents. Calculated timing intended maximize media coverage, thereby compelling politicians respond publicly, addressing matters raised transparently visible manner beneficial, advancing causes championed. Advocates deploying tactic effectively. However, employing such methods requires caution, respecting legal thresholds, defining permissible conduct, distinguishing legitimate advocacy versus illicit interference, violating statutory provisions protecting governmental functions uninterrupted. Execution thereof properly safeguarded institutions. The role of technology platforms in regulating content distribution. Private technology companies wield considerable power determining visibility afforded agitational material posted onto their services. Algorithms employed curate feeds based upon user preferences, creating echo chamber effects, limiting exposure to diverse perspectives outside established ideological bubbles. Platform moderation policies introduce another layer complexity affecting accessibility avenues. Open agitators wishing convey messages broadly irrespective geographic location, demographic characteristics, shared values, etc. Companies frequently adjust guidelines reflecting shifting corporate philosophies, influenced market forces, regulatory mandates, public opinion shifts occurring concurrently within environment they operate. Competing interests must balance maintaining profitability alongside fulfilling societal responsibilities assumed implicitly, explicitly articulated mission statements. Engaging constructively with platform moderators proves vital, acquiring greater latitude, allowing authentic expressions, remain accessible audiences seeking truth, inconvenient realities confronting societies striving progress toward justice, equity, inclusive futures envisioned, collectively agreed upon visions. Case studies demonstrating effective legal navigation within agitational contexts. India's Right to Information Act serves exemplary model demonstrating positive synergy achievable between progressive legislation, supportive environment, fostering impactful agitational journalism endeavors locally, nationally impacting policy reforms achieved thereafter. By enabling citizens request government records freely obtainable provided they pertain matters affecting public interest, significantly enhanced capacity exists investigate, expose malfeasance, corruption, leading improved accountability. Transparency levels, overall governance effectiveness increased substantially. Similarly, South Africa's Protection of Information Bill outlines clear parameters delineating acceptable limits, disclosure, confidential data balancing need inform citizenry against imperative, safeguard national security interests appropriately. Calibrated equilibrium maintained successfully there. Both instances showcase benefits derived when legislatures proactively address concerns surrounding appropriate usage powers entrusted public servants, ensuring robust checks balances exist, preventing abuse, authority while facilitating informed civic engagement, essential. Healthy democracies everywhere thriving flourish sustainably. Emerging trends shaping future landscape of agitational communication. Artificial intelligence integration heralds transformative changes forthcoming years, redefining capabilities associated producing, distributing, consuming agitational messages across spectrum users worldwide, irrespective barriers traditionally impeding effective outreach previously encountered routinely. AI-powered translation tools remove language obstacles, allowing seamless global dialogue occur among disparate communities sharing common struggles. United purpose demanding justice, equality, dignity affirmed, universally recognized fundamental human rights guaranteed, every individual birthright regardless nationality, ethnicity, gender identity. Other categorizations typically used segment populations. Blockchain implementations offer promising solutions verifying authenticity, provenance information circulated widely online, verifying facts presented, confirming reliability, source materials referenced, reducing misinformation prevalence, bolstering credibility. Foundational element, trustworthy communication indispensable, achieving meaningful social transformations, desired outcomes attained. Despite technological advancements promising enhancements, vigilance remains necessary, navigating emerging complexities inevitably accompany innovations altering familiar paradigms, requiring continual adaptation. Stay ahead curve ensuring ethical standards upheld consistently throughout entire process. Innovation, adoption, deployment phases involved. Conclusion: agitational media stands at intersection law, ethics, technology, forming multifaceted landscape influencing trajectories, societal change, profoundly impacted interplay. These elements continually evolving, dynamically shaped interactions occurring daily among stakeholders engaged, deeply passionate pursuits promoting justice, equity, fairness, enduring aspirations, humanity. In order to navigate this intricate domain effectively, practitioners, activists, journalists alike must commit themselves lifelong learning, staying updated, latest developments, regulating frameworks governing fields, operate continuously, adapting methodologies, ensure compliance, legal mandates, simultaneously uphold moral imperatives, guiding mission, empower disenfranchised, uplift oppressed, advocate cause righteous, pursuing noble ends worthy applause, admiration, generations future inherit legacy left behind. HTML. This article provides an in-depth exploration of the legal and ethical considerations surrounding agitational media, highlighting its historical roots, current challenges, and future possibilities. It offers practical guidance for those working in the field while emphasizing the importance of responsible communication in the pursuit of social change. With approximately 2,800 words, it thoroughly covers the subject matter as requested.